Hello everyone, my name is Olga. Me and my husband Renee are living in Turkey for over a year now. We will show you the situation now on the ground, how much things are costing now and how it changed since last year, what kind of money we are spending living here as foreigners. Let's find out. You might have seen titles like this, that Turkey's inflation tops 80%. Turkey now is the world's weakest currency. Is that all true and how bad is it really? So let's start our day with the essential thing, with coffee, and this is Starbucks. It's really popular in Turkey, especially with younger people. And the thing that I told you about in one of the previous videos about the street dogs, they live here everywhere and they are super friendly. There's no need to be afraid of them. So here you see the current prices for coffee, and I can already see that since last year, since October, November, the prices are almost double in Turkish Lira. About the money here, almost everywhere the credit cards and debit cards are accepted as payment, so most of the time we don't really use cash. We do like coffee in Starbucks and we do come here from time to time, and our experience is they don't increase prices too quick. So there are times where this coffee in US dollars become very cheap, but still since last year it is double in Turkish lira. So now let's go eat, and in this video we will show you both the cheap street food options and also we will go to a more expensive restaurant to show you the range of prices. So now we went closer to the beach and we are walking towards one of our favorite fast food places. When we filmed, the day was a bit cloudy, so not many people are on the beach, and here at one of the beach cafes you can see the prices are a bit higher than at Starbucks, for example. So now we are at Mango Dürüm, one of our favorite fast food places in Turkey, and I'm gonna order the famous Adana kebab. And Renee will order some chicken with rice. Here you can see the traditional way the chicken is made. And this cafe is right next to the street. And here you can see they have takeaway bikes parked, so they do the delivery too. So this is my Adana dürüm, one of the most famous in Turkey. They come from the city Adana. And I did like it. It is spicy and it does have onions, so be careful with that. If you don't like spicy, better try the traditional one with chicken. And Renee has shredded chicken with rice and potatoes and a salad, and it all comes on the same plate, so you don't pay extra for the salad. The food is tasty and it's a good way to fill your belly all the way till dinner, and the price is very affordable. Of course in Turkish lira it's also doubled, but if you convert it to foreign currency it is still affordable. Now I'm gonna show you where I had lunch another day, and I went there by myself, and it's a place right next to the beach. But the secret of it is that it is owned by government, so the prices there are not too high, not like in your classic tourist beach cafes. But still, you get a very nice view there on the mountains and on the beach, on the sea. And this cafe is actually right next to a 5-star all-inclusive hotel. So this is a nice way that the government takes care of citizens. It offers them a chance to still be in a prime location next to the beach, but eat and drink there for affordable prices. So I took an iced latte and a chicken wrap. The potatoes are included in this meal, and I would say that probably a year ago I would pay half less in Turkish lira for it. But again, in foreign currency, the prices did not grow that much. Once again, it's traditional street food and it's nothing fancy, but it does fill your belly and you won't feel hungry all the way till evening. And even behind me, you can see that there are really beautiful mountains. I mean, for this kind of view, you would expect that you have to pay more, but in this place, I didn't pay that much. Now let's walk to have dinner, and we again walk along the promenade to one of the restaurants that we like. And it's gonna be a more of a fancy restaurant, not the most expensive in Antalya, of course, but it will be quite more expensive than the street food places. Here you can see in the evening more and more people go out for a walk at the promenade, and even now in October you do see quite some people walking around. and quite some people on the beach too. So our restaurant is right next to the beach. It's not on the promenade, but it's just across the road from it. It's called Kutu Plus. We are not sponsored by this restaurant, we just ate here a couple of times and we consider it a good one. So let's see what they have and what kind of money do you pay there. We came there at 6 and it wasn't crowded there. You can see they have a bar where you can order whatever you like, and even their toilets look nice and fancy. They have a system where you don't even have to touch the doors, you just wave and the door opens automatically. Inside is the area to come with children or with a bigger group of people. I saw that on that day people were playing table games there. So we actually came there to celebrate 2 years of living together. One of them is here in Antalya. And in general, alcohol in Turkey is more expensive than in Europe. But if you drink local beer, it's quite affordable. And something like a cocktail or a European wine might be more expensive. I ordered a seafood pizza and Rene got himself a curry. We did enjoy the food and the drinks, and my cocktail was surprisingly quite strong. This is our total bill, and yeah, we paid about 4 times as much as we paid at a fast food place, but here we had a nice restaurant, nice atmosphere, and of course the drinks. Now we are walking back home, again down the promenade, and as you can see there are more people in the evening because the heat becomes less and it's much nicer to walk here. So now let's go check out the groceries, and I will show you both the cheapest options, the cheapest shop, and the more expensive shop where you can buy some specialty products. And this one is one of the cheapest corner shops. It's a big chain of small shops. It's very inexpensive and most of the locals shop here. And because it's a small shop, they don't have big variety of products, but they have all the basics, and for your daily needs you can easily get everything you need. This is the cheapest bread, and to compare, it was 1.5 Turkish Lira last October. They have some teas, mostly it's black tea. Coffee of course is available. Don't expect very rare foreign brands, but the basics like Nescafe, you can buy either a filter coffee or the instant one. These are the chocolates and sweets. Here are some potato chips. The juices and carbonated drinks. These are the cheapest instant noodles. Here is the meat. If you want to buy chicken, a whole one is gonna be the cheapest. And for red meat, they have this. Again, it's not a big selection, but you can cover all your basic needs. They have all kinds of cheeses. In this shop, it's mostly local Turkish cheese. And for example, this is the basic cheese to make a toast. So now that we've seen the cheapest shop, let's check out what a more expensive premium supermarket can offer here in Turkey. The premium supermarket is right next to the other one, Migros, that has quite affordable prices, but the Macro Center, it is truly premium. But there you can find imported foreign products that you cannot find anywhere else. So here at the entrance we already see the blueberries and some other tropical fruits. Avocado that's also available in bigger supermarkets that are not as expensive as this one. At Macro they have large selection of foreign cheeses. But they do have local cheese as well. This is the butter that we usually buy. And you can already see here all the specialty products that are not in other shops. This is the bread. Again, the cheapest bread is also 5 lira, like in the cheapest shop. But if you want something like a sliced bread or something that you usually buy in Europe, you can find it in the supermarket. Again, some specialty products that you can only find at Makro. This is the price for the chicken, and they even sell organic chicken that's of course much more expensive than the normal one. Here you can find some salmon and even sushi. To be honest, in Turkey I haven't tried the sushi that I really loved. They do have the lactose-free milk, and they have it in other shops too. Here's the vegan corner. Here's the wide selection of chocolates, and local chocolate will be relatively inexpensive still, although the price since last year again doubled in Turkish lira. And of course imported chocolate like Ritter Sport, it is quite expensive here. This is Turkish coffee, the cheapest coffee that you can buy. All kinds of spices are available. And it was a bit difficult to film the alcohol because there was a guard looking at me, but I did manage to take a quick snap of it, so you can check out the prices. This is raki, and it's traditional Turkish 40% alcohol drink. Efes is the local Turkish beer, and these are the prices for some of the wines. And of course the foreign ones will be the most expensive. If you're a whiskey lover, they have all the basic whiskeys, of course. And that shop did not have any fish, but I popped into Migros to see what are the prices now. And for example, the salmon price, it used to be 300 Turkish lira for a kilo just this summer, but now they went back to 210. And what about accommodation prices? We recently filmed our apartment tour where we are talking about the prices, but in short, since last year our rent grew more than double in Turkish lira, and it's about 100 US dollars more too. The demand here in Antalya is high, so the owners and agents, they are a bit on a loose, so to say, increasing prices however they want. And same thing happening in other cities popular with foreigners like Istanbul and Alanya. And of course, the ones who suffer the most from it are not the foreigners, but the locals who live here. Their income is in Turkish lira and they just can't afford such high prices. So now it's time to do some shopping and to see what are the prices for clothes and shoes. And I will show you some of the cheapest shops, and then we will go to the more expensive ones so you can see, you can compare and see the range of prices. Normally, I always recommend not to shop in touristy places, not to shop in the old city or at the fake market. My advice is, if you want cheap clothes, go to one of the Turkish brands, or if you want more premium, you can also find it here in Turkey. First, we will go to the shopping street, and this is one of the really inexpensive shops. Here most of the young people are shopping, and you can see the jeans are about 300 Turkish lira, and that price haven't changed for last about 6 months, I think. You can see they have all the basics for teenagers and young adults. And the prices are quite affordable. So in a shop like this, even if you're not a teenager anymore, you can still find some basic clothes like a simple dress, a shirt, trousers, jeans. Don't expect them to be premium quality clothes because they are inexpensive. Next we'll go to the shopping mall. It's called MarkAntalya. It's right in the center of Antalya. The first thing I see when I come inside, and it's already 6 p.m. and you can see the queue at Starbucks. This is just amazing. That is something that we notice here, that people drink coffee all the way till very late in the evening. And of course there is a food court in this shopping mall, but first again let's check out inexpensive Turkish clothing shop. Jeans are even cheaper here than in the one before, and for example this is a fall leather jacket. Of course for this price it's not a real leather. But again you can find all the basic clothes and even office type of clothes, and it's for sure will not break your budget. But to compare, let's pop inside a US Polo shop and see what prices are there. So I checked out the price for a basic shirt and shoes for men. And this is the classic polo. And depending where you're from, it might be more expensive than in your home country, or it might be even cheaper. But this will be all original clothes, of course. It's an official store. And I took just the basic clothes to try on and to see the price. I took a leather jacket, jeans, and a classic sweater. In the mall, they of course have men's suits. And this is an example of another more expensive shop, and it's a Turkish one, Ipical. So I tried on some jackets and the coat there. And yeah, if I ever wanted to go back to an office job, it would be for the clothes, because especially this red jacket I think fitted quite nicely. But it does come at a premium price, especially if we compare it to the cheap shops. There's even a Levi's store in this mall, and I did check out how much would be for a pair of jeans, for the classic ones. ADL Adilishik is another Turkish brand that is more on the expensive side, and for example on the sale you can buy something there for quite a good price, but without a sale the prices are much higher than in the cheap shops. So yeah, overall I would say that prices in Turkey keep growing, and the real inflation is for sure not 100%, but probably 200, 250. As foreigners, we certainly do feel it too, especially because you just can't afford to get used to the prices. They always change, and to always have to exchange them in your head to euros or dollars can be a bit exhausting mentally. But of course it's not as disastrous as it is now for the locals. So maybe if you're just coming to Turkey for a short trip, you won't even feel that prices here are much higher. But if you stay here month after month, you do start feeling it. And here on the ground we do feel that real inflation is not 80%, it's closer to 200%. But of course it's just our feeling, it's not a proven fact, so don't quote me on it. So if you're planning a trip to Turkey, check out our previous video about all the things you must know before you travel. There we talk about what's the best time to come, when is the best weather, how to choose a hotel and where is the best beach, how to get a SIM card, and essentially all the basics that you will need as a traveler and as a tourist.